Well, good morning to everybody. Chieftain News here reporting in. Uh, Over the last couple of days, last 48 hours, I've been gathering some intel for you guys who are out there listening in. The intel briefings that I've been in and have discussed various things. I've got a lot of topics to cover. This is going to be a little lengthy, so get some popcorn or whatever you like and sit down and enjoy the intel. Anyway, before we start, I wanted just to reiterate to everybody that I know that I've got a blacked out screen here, and I understand that. It's something that I have discussed with other people, and I've also done some thinking about it. And for right now, that's just the way it's going to be. I'm not here to be seen. I'm here just to give and pass along the information that I have found out and have researched. And I kind of like I feel comfortable with that right now, and that's just the way I excuse me, I'm going to do that. Well, let's move on. Let's get into this. That's why we're here, right? So let's dig into it. I found out there was some information that was passed along last night to me, and also I had a previous mention of it earlier this week about the black fungus that is taking and sweeping through India. Unfortunately, the going to keep these folks in prayer and keep them in our hearts and minds. There is a fungus that is growing on a black fungus that is growing on people's faces, and it is eating their flesh. And this is a health situation, health hazard situation over in India. Very sorry to hear and read about and to hear the intel reports about it. It's not cool, not good. But keep those folks in mind and stuff. They're going through a harsh time. Some of the other strange intel that was given up that caught my ear was the intel suggested that the folks with the vaccine seems to be the ones that it's impacting the most. The vaccine to COVID-19 specifically. So heard that in there, and I went, "Wow, that's not something that I was glad to hear." Of course. All right, moving on into the situation that is at hand, the big situation, I guess. The Intel groups and Intel personnel that I listen to, like I said, they do work for the Alphabet Soup Group, and they do release what they can, and they do not release anything. First and foremost, let me reiterate: they do not release anything that is classified, top secret, or anything like that. They divulge what they can, and they adhere to their oath, their promise, their agreement that they have signed. Anyway, I will continue this into the Middle East from here, and I will discuss that with you first. The Middle East. The situation in the Middle East is intel groups are feeding information into us, letting us know that it's not going to go away. In fact, it's going to escalate big time. The situation is not good, and there is a number of things that are happening. Specifically, that Hamas has broken out some new toys, and has also some new toys they haven't broken out yet. Specifically, during the barrage of the rockets being fired over into Israel, there's intel coming in that there was possibly hypersonic missiles used within them to reach their destination. The Iron Dome in Israel does not have the ability to block these hypersonic missiles, especially when it's overwhelmed with hundreds and hundreds of missiles coming in all at once. The other things that they may have is the IS rocket 250 has also been discussed as being available, and this thing carries a 500 kilogram or 500 kilo payload that is capable of it's a pretty good size, around 500 kilograms or kilos. I think it's probably kilos of explosive on its on the tip of the missile that is shooting over into Israel, which can do more damage than normal. Usually these are little bottle rockets they're sending over. These are definitely larger, medium-range missiles that are not better guidance, better use, and they come from somewhere. The missiles are coming from somewhere. Somebody's feeding Hamas these missiles. Keep that in mind. It's probably a bigger country. If I had to venture a guess, I would say it'd be Iran, and if I'm saying that, it's probably also technology coming from Russia. Just to put a fine point on it. So the troops of Israel are massing up on the border, and by the end of today, the 14th, you should see or hear in the news very shortly that there is close to 50,000 troops that are moving, mobilized in the Israeli country, and they're also massing up on the border. Should be close to 40K massing up on the border with the tanks and everything ready to go in and start the ground invasion to do what they're going to do. There could be some other things that happen as far as the players involved. There is a group just to the north in Lebanon, intel was released, that has been growing in numbers and sizing up and recruiting up and getting geared up and trained, and it is the Hezbollah. They're getting massed up and ready to go. If they get the green light from Iran, I heard they're going to go ahead and attack Israel. And so far, they have a very quick, rapid force ready to go. It's 15,000 troops. That's a sizable little force, along with Hamas, and maybe some other groups along with them. There are other groups out there. If they join forces, along with any other armies, that's going to become a force multiplier, of course. So that's what I heard. Also, if people haven't been following the story down in Australia, moving to Australia, but we'll quick mention if this is the event in Ezekiel 38:39, you're going to see Russia, Turkey, Iran, and also a bunch of other Muslim or Islamic faith religions join together from all over the countries of Islam, Northern Africa, the Middle East, and go against Israel. More than likely, they'll gather in Syria, in the southern border of Syria. They'll want to take the Golan Heights out. That's just looking ahead, a possibility of one of the scenarios that could possibly play out, or this could have a good venting process and everything de-escalates and everything goes to something back to what we were before. All right, so moving on to Australia. Australia has been taken over by a huge pestilence of rats, mice. I mean, it's overwhelming. I've been watching the story for months now, a couple of months, and it's gotten to a serious proportion to where it's bad. It's very bad. I also heard from the intel groups that we can expect that here in our country, in the United States, that we're going to have problems with rodents. We're going to have problems with pestilence like that here coming very soon, very soon. No time frame specifically was given, other than the news being related to me, and I'm relating it to you. All right, so that rat problem in the United States coming up. And what was being said was they're being forced out of the ground because of conditions under the surface of the earth are changing, causing them to come out. And so we could see an escalation and a pest problem here in the United States very soon, just like in Australia. And if you can Google that in Australia, and you'll see it's really bad. There's like rivers of them moving around through the cities and through the warehouses and then the fields. It's really, yeah, they've had the problem before, but what caught my eye was that the intel group says the talking about this same problem is coming to the United States, and it's a different issue. It's not because of an overpopulation and a really good, healthy breeding environment and excellent conditions for them to exceed and excel. It is something that's happening underneath our earth. Something's going on that's changing their habitat, forcing them out of the ground and into our warehouses, into our food supply, into other things that we're going to see. So keep an eye out for that here in the United States. One of the biggest things that was talked about last night was time dilation. They said that the time was up and they have to disclose the information that they can to warn us about the situation that's happening. Time is a weighed value, and I will keep it very vague, and I don't want to go into any strict details about this because it gets too deep. And that could take hours to explain, to lay the foundation to get at least the message out to make it make sense. But I'll leave it in a vague general term. Send me any questions that you want. Feel free to question the stuff, and I will guide you any place I can to Google or anywhere with the science that I know and that I've studied before I was hearing about this event that is starting to happen. Time dilation not only can distort time in different places and affect people's actual watches, your clocks, your time. You think it's a certain day and time, but you go somewhere else and it's not. It's a different time. We have 24 hours around our planet, so it is a different time on the other side of the planet right now. But on a magnified level, out of our norm, the events that are coming according to the description because of magnetic forces and gravitational forces changing, it's also going to change time. Thus the time dilation. Time can dilate and it can expand. It can slow down and it can speed up. So some of the magnetic forces that are changing in our magnetosphere will affect people's minds. It will affect us. Time crunches for anybody who's been in any high traumatic situation, a car accident, just an injury that occurred. You've probably noticed here and there through some of you probably have experienced a time seems like it slows down. Well, that's you speeding time up. People don't realize that compression and stuff like that. These are things that are happening to our lives that are unique, and there are those of us who remember those time crunches and stuff like that during accidents or other high traumatic situations. But even more so, the gravitational forces that are going to be affecting us with this change on the magnetosphere and other external uh, massive bodies that are out there in our solar system moving around other than our sun and planets is affecting us to a point where we will have time dilation and little gravitational fluctuations could affect people to make them very scared of what they're seeing. Things may not appear to look right or correct to them, and they may be scared of what they're seeing, and things may not look right or correct to them. Some of you people may even be noticing now out there that some of this is happening already on a small, tiny level. You may have experienced people looking at you or people looking at each other and not being able to discern what's real or not. But that's supposed to exponentially increase, and we should see it on a bigger level, and that people may be seeing things that you may not see it, but they do. The effects of gravitational forces on the magnetosphere as well as on us. You change our gravitational stuff around us. You change our the forces around us like that on a magnetic gravitational scale, and yes, it will change. Time dilation will happen. People could be experiencing paranoid or even mental problems from the effects. Instability in our magnetosphere has been proven in small doses to do this kind of stuff in experiments as well. There may be also a spiritual implication to this as far as the spiritual world opening up and us seeing into the spiritual world. And again, it may not. We'll have to wait and see. I'll let y'all make the choice on that. Other things that can happen in human behavior is more aggressive behavior can increase in humans because they're unable to understand reality. They're going to be very confused. All of us may be very confused for that matter. But if you see this on an external level, you may be seeing something that somebody's experiencing that you're not. But it may seem very real to them, even though you're not seeing it. Keep that in mind. I guess moving on into some of the final things that I heard. A warning and a message came last night through the Intel group where they can. Again, none of this stuff is classified or top secret. This is stuff that was able to be released here, and it's not really the public consumption. I highly doubt that a lot of people are going to find this site. I could be wrong in that. Let me get that disclaimer out right now. I could be wrong in that. We'll see. But the storm that I was told a storm is coming that'll take out the electricity in the North American continent, or specifically the United States, and there'll be no power for about a month. So we should prepare for that. Again, this is the intel that came into me that I'm relating to you. You should be prepared for that. You should have ways to generate electricity. You should have ways to cook. You should have ways to get water and purify water without electricity. For those of us who are preppers, it's a good thing. It's a very good thing that we prep, because we'll be prepared for situations better than the others who don't. So if you're a prepper, you're probably more along the lines of understanding what I'm talking about than if you're not. The first series of thoughts with most people who are not preppers is that it'll never happen. Never happen. So we don't have to prepare for it because it'll never happen. You know, I would think twice about that situation. But you do what you want as people out there. But yeah, I was told again that there is a storm coming and that it'll take out the electricity here in the United States for about a month, but they'll get it restored. I was thinking solar flares. I was thinking, something else out there that's coming from across the Milky Way to us to hit us and impact us. I don't know. I have no idea. But no specifics were given. But it was very pressed. They were pressed. The Intel group was pressed by the people that were listening to the intel briefing. Is this a natural event or is this a man-made event? Of course, naturally, those folks in the prepper world are thinking, "Hey, that sounds like an electromagnetic pulse, an EMP." Well, nope. That's not what they did. That's not what they said. They said this is no mankind can do what this is going to be, this event. But it's a natural event. They confirmed that last night. So that's the intel that I got coming in, and that was the story on the time dilation, as well as what I heard in the Middle East, that we can look for a serious escalation to happen, a serious war. We also, strangely enough, haven't heard much about the Ukraine stuff or the South China Sea stuff. It seems like the Middle East is dominating. And I suspect that the forces that Russia that are on the border of Ukraine, there being 100,000 there now, again, as well as another 30 or 40,000 in Crimea, it's just a hop, skip, and a jump over into Syria. I still got a feeling, an unconfirming thought that we're going to see that army come into Syria. We'll see. We will see. Anyway, other than that, hope everybody's had a good week. It is Friday on this May 14th of 2021 this morning. Hope everybody's had their morning coffee and having a good day. And hope you guys have a great weekend. I will break in if anything happens. Make sure you subscribe and hit some likes on the YouTube site there, and send any comments you want. I check them. So, and just in case you have any questions or any comments, I'll be reading that stuff there. You guys have a great weekend, and we'll talk to you later. Stay safe. Take care. Stay well. Chieftain News out.